How can creators like us, who are new to building online businesses, who have high value skill sets, how do we scale our monthly recurring revenue, or MRR, to get us the freedom we desire? That is the question, and this newsletter will give you the answers. Be sure to subscribe if these are the types of answers you seek. My name is Boise Gordon, and welcome to episode 15 of Boise Talks Business. Episode 15, Journey to Scale. It's only day 2, and my client booked their first meeting. I have a huge announcement as well for anyone looking to grow their business on social media. So, welcome guys. I can actually breathe out now. Today's been super hectic. Recorded a podcast, met with my client for an hour. Was trying to write some of my future stuff, future offers for you guys, the freebies and stuff. It was a pretty hectic day, but we squeezed it out. Do not suggest. I should have done everything earlier in the morning, but I kind of started late, so we'll work on it. But as time goes, just for those who may be new, and also I guess this is kind of an announcement for anyone who's been here before. I'm starting a new column. I don't know if I want to do it every Tuesday or just randomly every week, but Journey to Scale. So that'll be me talking about me scaling my business, me scaling my clients' businesses, just giving you guys a more personal and live experience on what I'm doing and what I'm working on with my clients. And if I can provide value with that, then that's all the better. Cool. Let's jump in. So in the last episode, we talked about revenue models as a differentiation method. Talking about how revenue models really control the external perception of your company, because especially as a creator, because the customer doesn't really care about your business model. They just want to know that what you're offering works and how much do they have to pay, right? So I go into pretty decent detail on just the different business concepts and how you can apply them to your creator business. But just to give you some of an example, I'll give you the list of various revenue models that can help you stand out. So the first one is a la carte or paper item. Great if you offer fast turnaround. Or things with fast turnaround. You can scale it a lot easier and get more bang for your buck, more money per hour if you want to calculate it that way. And then monthly subscriptions. This is the most common type of revenue model. If you use this, you'll probably be compared with anyone else who uses it. So I try to do a hybrid, which is just a mix of everything. That gives me a little bit more cushion and also, adjust the amount of risk for both me and my client. And then result-based or 100% result-based removes all risk from your customer. And then paid in full removes all risk from your business. So result-based is pretty much I don't get paid until I accomplish X. And then paid in full is you give me all the money up front for the entire length of the program. So if it's a 3-month program, you multiply your monthly cost by 3 and then maybe take 20% off as a deal if you want to do that. If you have more leverage, then you can just charge as much as you want. So Alex Hormozy could probably charge $100K a month if he wanted to. And then as far as retainer, great if you outsource work to others. So retainer is pretty much just going to be a tab. So your client pays you up front for the future work you might do, and then whatever's left is used for the next time you need to do something for that client. I personally, like I said, prefer hybrid. It just gives me an edge over the standard models that most people use. I mix monthly subscription with result-based, or actually paid in full with result-based, which I did talk about in my last newsletter. So feel free to check that out. It was definitely a good read. I have been talking all day today, so my voice is a little more exhausted. So I apologize for you guys who may be new to tuning in, but everybody that's been here before knows that I don't really care that much. All right, let's dig into today's stuff. So today I do want to share a breakthrough that I had with my client. We literally onboarded Sunday. Was it Sunday? No, it was yesterday. We onboarded yesterday, and she already booked her first prospect meeting today, literally an hour ago. Not only does it speak to my ability, but her level of commitment to the journey. I absolutely love working with passionate people just because it's so easy to get results. They're going to do exactly what you say, and they're going to do it as hard as humanly possible and take the initiative and use all their background knowledge. They're not just standing and waiting for you to give them something. they're running and they're like, hey, like, can you give me some water? Like, and I'm just like, yeah, here you go. Like, I don't have to do anything. I'm just like in a car following them while they're training. Like, so, I definitely appreciate the passion in my clients. It helps so much with turnaround. So let's dig into this. I'll treat it a little bit like a case study, but I do want to make it more of a story. So my background, most of you know that prior to me doing this business consulting online creator stuff, I was running a logistics brokerage, which is essentially me orchestrating and arranging like transportation and warehousing for, on behalf of other companies. We'd essentially it was like a agency where we'd outsource the trucking work to different companies, and then we would make the rest of the retainer, if you will. But what you may not know is that I was responsible for the sales training of my company the entire time. The entire time. When we scaled from 0 to 1.4 million, I was training. When we scaled from 1.4 million to 2.5 million, I was training. When we repeated the next year and did 2.5 million again and had to fire and hire new people, I was training while also selling. It was not, I don't recommend, like, even when we scaled our sales team to 5 people, like, it was really hard to like keep sales up while trying to help people who weren't, familiar with the industry selling, right? So not to mention that we hired plenty of people who had never done sales before. It was cheaper. And, like, obviously, like, at that time we had a system for sales training that made it a lot easier to get people up to speed. So we hired for more personality traits in the beginning. Well, not in the beginning, but towards the middle, when we actually started to expand a little bit. And so the sales training wasn't that bad. I'd actually get them trained up in selling within their first month. Even though there was like a 3-month probationary period, most people were able to handle accounts within their first month. Some people lagged and maybe 2 months in. But I never really thought about it until now. But it definitely translated into like this business. I didn't realize how much sales training I would be doing. But it was, I already have a system. Like, I don't really have to do that much work about it. So before me, my client was completely fed up, reading books on stuff like how to win business, how to market myself, create content, watching videos, downloading lead magnets. When I brought that up earlier, like, because I was telling her about my ICP, and I was like, yeah, like, I'm targeting people that do X, Y, and Z. And I read off the list, and like, you could see on her face, like, that was her. Right. So like, it's cool to see, like, even though my ICP is not a real person, that real people actually like feel that way. It just confirms the validity of who I'm targeting with my content. But yeah, that was cool. Anyway, nothing she learned helped her make any progress, right? Like, what's the goal? Is it to just get followers? Is it to build an email list, or is it to make money, right? So she learned how to build an audience. She learned how to gain authority, but had no clue how to monetize, which is like the last step. And the only client she had was from a recommendation. I'm not sure who recommended it to her. Maybe it was from one of her friends online or something, but that's who she's been working with for a while. That was primary source of income for her business. And she wanted to earn a full-time income. She wanted to see progress. She wanted to win. I had heard all of this before. This was me. Literally me. I guess I was my ICP, right? So this is why we resonated with each other from day one. And I'm not talking about like day one of the program. I'm talking about like day one when I DM'd her for the first time, and we just hit it off. Like, everything we wanted to talk about was something we could both relate to. And like, when I'm having conversations like that, it just makes it so much easier to like help people, So on day one of like the program, I went over her business foundation, and obviously if you're doing something on your own, it's going to be a lot of disorganization, a lot of bottlenecking, a lot of like overlap, a lot of confusion. And so like, the first thing I wanted to do was get her super clear on her goals. Like, I forced her to get super clear on her goal, her business model, her structure, like everything. That was the first thing we did. I was like, hey, pick something. All of these can make you money. What do you want? And she was stumped. She was like, oh man, I don't know. I never thought about this. But we kept talking through it. And once I gave her like insight, she tackled like we tackled her biggest roadblock, which obviously was like starting conversations and like getting one on one, like figuring out when to sell, not so much how to sell because I don't really preach selling. I'm just like, you have an offer that's valuable, you don't have to sell it. So we tackled the biggest roadblock, which was that. And I gave her a plan of attack. I was like, hey, this is what you can do to get more leads, or like, this is what you can do to get more people to reach out to. And immediately she started reaching out to people. She started making connections. She started having conversations. I didn't tell her to actually go and do it. I was just giving her the plan. We weren't going to actually execute it until the next week. Like, I was originally giving her the plan so that I could then give her the teaching portions of like how to execute. But like, she just experimented on her own. She started testing things out. And by the end of the day, she already had, like, end of the first day, she already had 3 people interested in her offer. Like, you know, interested in telling her about their problems. Like, they were bleeding out to her. And I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? Like, where are those people for me? Right? Like, kidding. But like, you know, it was a bright spot there. And at that point I knew like exactly what was happening. And I looked at myself, or, you know, I imagined that I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was just like, what have you created? Like, what did you do? Like, I created a monster, man. Even when I was training employees, I never saw something like this on the first day. Like, but there was a blockage, you know, that I wasn't attuned to. Like, so she did all this stuff. She was, you know, making all this progress, but like, I wasn't aware of the bigger problem, right? The real reason why she hadn't had any ability to monetize. So she would get people vomiting about their business pains and, you know, hesitate to book a meeting. Like, she would get people from, hey, I have no clue who you are, to like, I want to tell you all my problems really quickly. She'd been doing that apparently for like for at least a month at that point, but never booked a meeting. Right. And I just thought to myself, like, oh my God, such an introvert. Like, I feel your pain. So scared to like make it about business, but this is business at the end of the day. Like, we have to take that next step. So it was now day 2, and I was unaware of the problem until I began reviewing some of her conversations. And she sent me a screenshot, and I'll probably put some of the screenshots from our chat in the article or in the newsletter portion of this. But she sent me like a screenshot, and I read it, and it was this guy literally bleeding out to her, like, what do I do? Like, how do I do this? Like, asking for her advice, right? And I was like, he sent you like a whole like storybook worth of questions. Like, there's no way you should just respond with like a block of text. This is a perfect spot to suggest a meeting, is what I like typed back to her. And I could hear her gasp through the computer. Like, she even typed it, and I'm reading it right now. Like, she said, deep breaths, or deep breathes. Like, she was nervous, right? Then I walked her, you know, through an approach that I thought would be comfortable for her. I've dealt with this in the past multiple times over. People were scared to make that next step and actually make it about business when you built a relationship with someone. And, you know, we talked strategy for a couple minutes in chat, and then she sent off the message, right? But that wasn't it. The doubts were still there. Like, I had convinced her to do it, but there was still like a what if at the back end of it. And she asked me, she's like, what if this man ghosts me forever? Right? She expressed like major concern. And, you know, the tension was high, and we continued to talk about the situation. I tried to comfort her a little bit and just let her know, like, if he doesn't respond back to you, then, you know, like, you just find someone else to talk to. Right? So that, you know, was kind of the air of the next part of the conversation. But then she sent me a screenshot, and it was him saying, yes, like, let's meet. I'd love to meet with you. And I was so hyped. Like, I just start clapping in my seat, like I'm at a tennis match. I just finished watching tennis. I was just like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. Like, oh yeah. And then this is what she says to me, and I'm reading it verbatim. Like, I never would have gotten to this point without your help. From the bottom of my heart, all caps. Thank you, Boise. How many is that? 7 exclamation points. Like, I felt like she had won the Grammy, and I was like her manager, and she was giving like her speech. Like, it felt so nice to see her win. And this moment confirmed it for me. Like, I'm doing exactly what I should be doing right now. Like, what I want to do with my life. Like, it was like, it wasn't just confirmation for her and like her abilities and giving her value. It was like me saying like, oh man, I can do this. Like, this is great. I already had done it before, but like to do it for just the sake of me, like obviously you're running a company, you got employees, you have to sell, and you have to teach people how to sell. That's how your company stays afloat. At that point, you're doing it for the greater good. But at this point, I'm just doing this for me, So like, this is a different feeling. So this won't be the last success story you'll be hearing about her or any of my other clients. I actually converted my first client to my new offer. For those that don't know, I landed that client off of Medium, and it was pretty much just a writing offer where I'd like copyright, help them build audience from there. But I'd prefer to just help people with their businesses, so convince them to start one. So I plan to keep you updated on their journeys, along with mine, of course. But I honestly prefer talking about other people. It just makes it so much more fulfilling to know like I had some form of influence on the situation. But obviously talking about me is necessary. Ugh. So once again, Journey to Scale is a new column I plan on doing once a week. Just keep you guys updated on the progress I'm making, for myself or for other people. Yeah, and I do have an announcement. I'm currently working on a case study for the DM strategy that I used to land her, and to also land my other client. And it's also the same thing that helped her book a meeting in her first 2 days of learning it. So I will keep you posted on the release. If you do want to know when it is released, I'll definitely be posting it to Substack and X. So if you haven't followed me on X, just go ahead and type in Boise Gordon into the search bar. Should pop up. I have a blue background with the smirk face. And then Substack is just www.boisetalks.com. You can subscribe there. Should get information about the release if you haven't already. And yeah, P.S. Judging from the pace of my newest client's growth, I should know by the end of this month if I'll have slots for April. There is a wait list for anyone interested, so that's going to be first come, first dibs on slots. So like I've said before, I'm just going to put out, hey, I have this many slots available. Any takers? First people to say like, they want it. Obviously, I'm going to, rank in order of who joined the wait list first, but whoever wants it got it there. And then after that, I'll obviously put out the slots for availability to the general public. So if anyone's interested, just go ahead and, if for my Substack subs, just reply scale to this email. You should get it in your inbox, and then just reply scale is fine there. And then for my non-subscribers on Substack, anybody visiting from YouTube, shouts out to you. Spotify, love you guys. Apple Podcasts, love you guys too. Just type in or email waitlist, WAITLIST at boisegordon.com. Cool. And that should be good enough. Just send an email, let me know you're interested, and we can set something up. I'll just hop on a strategy call, make sure you're a good fit, and then add you to the official waitlist. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. My voice is absolutely dead. I'm going to be silent for like 12 hours probably. Oh man, so much done today. But again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was entertaining to you, or at least valuable of some sort. And we'll keep it pushing. Peace.